Ambassador Shapiro, Phil Bolton.
Yeah, Phil, how are you?
That's great. I'm here with Trevor Williams and David Beasley.
Wow.
And we thank you so much for this opportunity. We look forward to your visit to Atlanta on May 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And we're hoping to get kind of an update on the free trade agreements and their status at the moment. Apparently this is an area that you...
that I care about. Great.
You care about.
I do indeed. Look, got new administration's been in office, 101 days now.
Yeah.
And I spent the last 6 weeks, I just got back on Monday into the office in Trinidad working on the Summit of the Americas, which I'd be glad to talk about also. But
Great.
One of the things coming out of that is that President Obama has instructed U.S. Trade Representative Ron Kirk to take a serious look at what needs to be done to get the pending trade agreements through Congress, to look at them carefully, to talk to the stakeholders in the United States, to talk to members of our Congress and determine what sort of modifications might be necessary, whether it's in the agreements themselves or in legislation in the other countries, in particular maybe perhaps in labor codes or banking laws or whatever might be necessary, and to figure out how to move forward on these.
So essentially we're talking there about Colombia, Panama, and Korea.
Exactly.
Is there a specific order that was
No,
recommended?
the previous administration had stuck to the order in which they were negotiated. And I think that the new administration it doesn't see anything inviolable about the order of those.
So you think that we're way beyond the campaign rhetoric at the moment, and now it's a more careful look at some of the specifics in each of these agreements.
Absolutely. And, obviously you've got a president whose party enjoys a majority in both houses in Congress, unlike the previous administration, so that makes it certainly more favorable in that sense.
Yeah. Right. Could you just give us a thumbnail sketch of your opinions concerning those three, Colombia, Panama, and Korea?
Well, Korea is beyond my brief, so I'll let somebody who's more expert on Korea talk about Korea, and I know people in Georgia are much more excited about the Korea agreement than the other two. But on Panama and Colombia, essentially what it does is it figures out how to allow U.S. exporters to have the same access to their markets that they have to the United States already. And let me repeat that. Panama and Colombia already have duty-free access in the United States for something like 95% of their exports.
At the same time, those two countries have been politically closer to the United States than many other countries in the world. And when you look at it from a Georgia perspective, and particularly Savannah and Brunswick, the Panama Canal plays just an incredibly important role for Georgia.
Oh, absolutely. Look, Panama's exports to the United States are statistically not very significant. But Panama's imports from the United States, in fact, are significant. It's one of those countries with whom we have a striking trade surplus, in part because Panama's main business is the canal and all the industry associated with the canal, banking, warehousing, container ports at both ends, the new high-speed railroad that they've got paralleling the canal. And so they are not a major exporting country. Their major product is a service. Mm-hmm. And that means that they are importing most of what they need for domestic consumption. And a good part of that comes from the United States, despite the fact that it's, I think Panama's population is 3 million people. If I remember correctly, we've got a trade surplus with Panama of $3 billion.
What would be the political repercussions if that particular U.S.-Panama agreement is never signed or it's rejected?
But it's already been signed. It's a question of how do we get it through our Congress, and when's the right time to get it through Congress.
What if it doesn't go through the Congress?
Well, I don't want to talk about the political repercussions, but I think what it will do ultimately is hurt U.S. exports. I mean, we tend to look at these agreements as if everybody wants to negotiate with the United States and they're not negotiating with other countries, when in fact they are. All the countries in Latin America and elsewhere are busy negotiating trade agreements with each other. Colombia and Peru are negotiating with the European Union right now. Colombia's got an agreement with Canada. Peru's negotiating with China. I mean, so you've got all these sorts of agreements out there. And what it will do if other countries' products can enter those countries duty-free while U.S. products continue to pay duties is put us at a disadvantage.
In terms
and particularly in this economy now, I mean, I don't think we want to do that. I think what we want to do is find ways to increase our exports.